Hello, and welcome to Beulah Land and Livestock. I'm Spencer.
And I'm Elizabeth. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about what we're doing and how we're making it work.
So we've had a dream of starting a homestead for about as long as we've been married. Probably a little bit longer because we wanted to do it since before we were married, really. We both love this kind of thing. I grew up in a small town, constantly reading books and making plans for tiny homesteads and homes.
I was raised on a farm and ranch beef operation and grew up on Little House on the Prairie books and dreaming of growing and storing food in the attic and making butter with carrot juice for coloring and all that good stuff.
So this has always been a dream of ours. We had chickens almost as soon as we bought our first house and talked about getting a cow. Even tried it. It didn't go out so well because of the space that we have and
the fences.
How things were at the time.
Pro tip, if you want a cow, build your fence first.
Seriously.
So his aunt was selling a few of her goats, and they were cheaper and easier to care for, and they came in with a built-in reference manual, if you will. And they would be a lot easier to keep on our almost 2 acres.
So we got goats. I built a milk stand, and we both learned how to milk. And we were hooked.
Then a couple years later, shortly after our first baby was born, we were on our way home to visit my parents on the other side of the state, and as we came over the hill and looked down into the valley, I just got this overwhelming feeling that we needed to move there. Well, what were we going to do with that? We prayed, we counseled, we searched real estate and rentals, and finally found this cute little house for rent in the heart of my favorite town, 15 minutes from where I grew up.
So I was already self-employed at that point, so work wasn't a big concern. I was able to just transition my contracting and construction, remodeling, and whatnot over to that area. We put renters in our house here and packed up our chickens and ducks and furnishings and moved out of town. So I quickly found stuff to do with remodels and other stuff.
We ended up selling our goats to a friend because it just wasn't going to work. But we kept our chickens and our ducks at my parents' place because we were close to them. And we even put in a garden at their house, which didn't go so good.
Yeah.
But the backyard of our house in town was amazing. The crazy guy, bless him, who had lived and died there, had been, I think, with the Forest Service. And he had crammed that backyard with fruit. There was raspberries, gooseberries, elderberries, cherries, apples, nectarines. They didn't do good. Damson plums, red plums, green gage plums, mini plums. Those are so good. And I feel like there was another kind, a relation to gooseberry, but I don't remember the name of it.
Jonathan Berry.
Oh yeah, something like that. I made jams up the wazoo, and we dried apples from the time they were green until we used the very last apple. We didn't know what kind they were, so we just started drying the green ones, and they were good. They were really good. And that got us hooked on orchard stuff.
Our second child was born there, and rent was really high, and the house was really small. So when her grandma had to go into the nursing home, we moved into her house in a proper countryside and right across the road from one of the houses Elizabeth had grown up in.
That was a wonderful year and a half. We rented it from my uncle, but had access to the old milking barn, and we talked him into letting us get goats again to help with the weed control. It was not a hard sell. And that's when we got our first Guernsey goats. And we'll do a whole video on them because they deserve a whole video of their own.
A whole video of their own. They're amazing.
That was the best garden I have done yet. I planted tomatoes in deep bedding where a calf shed had sat for like 100 years. And I had a bumper crop. It was awesome. We had spinach and beets and lettuce, cucumbers, potatoes, lots of stuff. It was great. It was heaven, but it was also in the middle of great big fields, and they crop dusted those crops really regularly. It was also right over the state line in Oregon, and we found there are a lot more restrictions there than we preferred, especially for selling raw milk and having home births, which is really important to us. So, with heavy hearts, we came back to our 2 acres inside city limits, our first house. And exactly 1 year to the day of moving in, our third child was born, here in the same living room where his big sister was born. I think we always knew, though, moving back here, it was not for keeps. It was not going to work.
No.
Despite our elaborate plans, we were going to put in a berm and a pond and plant, 1,000 trees last year?
Yep.
But
Nope.
by the end of that first winter, we knew it wasn't going to work. It was the worst winter that this area has seen in 50 years.
20
years, and it did me in. That was thigh-high snow is not my speed at all, especially while pregnant. That was not good. But within the end of that first year, we knew we were out of here. We were moving back across the state. We've been asked a ton, why are you moving? And the biggest, most important answer is that we feel it's consistent with God's plan for our family. And that's the reason to end all reasons right there. But there are more.
Neighbors are one of them. We love our neighbors, but they don't always get along well with each other or us.
Or us with their animals.
Yeah.
We know that our new neighbors are not going to be perfect either. New neighbors, if you're watching this, we love you too. But there'll be more space between us and them, and better fences. And fences and space make the best neighbors, after all.
We're hoping to improve our finances and how we keep them organized, how we arrange them, and just the strain there as well. And there's a lot of whispers of change in town politics, which aren't appealing to us at all.
We've been able to, the water's unmetered right now. So, like, we've got it running out there for our poultry, and it just runs all the time because it's unmetered. And maybe that's not ethical, I don't know. But it works for us. But there's rumor that that's not going to stay the case. There's rumor that they're going to put in sidewalks, and that's going to raise people's taxes in town. So I think we should probably just slip out while we're slipping out. It's good. There's also not as much light here. As much sunlight.
There's a lot of cloudy.
Yeah, there's a lot of cloudy, and it just feels gloomier. And even when the sun shines, it doesn't feel as bright as it does on the other side of the state. And I struggle with that a lot in the wintertime. It gets really hard sometimes. I've tried like the little lights that you can put in your house, and it helps. But to feel like I'm trapped in the house because of the snow and my small kids, that's hard. And I'm ready for that to be done. It's hard.
So we know that some turbulent times are coming in economics and politics. It seems to be ramping up right now, and that's something we're trying to make sure that we have preparations against anything that could happen.
And how can they not come? This is the last days. And we know also in the last days perilous times shall come. It's part of the times. It's part of what we can expect. And we can prepare to deal with those. Now, all these reasons right for everybody to just up and move. Oh, I don't like my neighbors. Bye. No. Are they right for us? Yes. For all of the things we listed. But back to the biggest reason, we feel like this is God's will for us. And if it's God's will for you that you move, then you better up and move. And if it's not, then He'll show you how to make it work where you are with what you have.
Just gotta trust Him.
Yes.
Faith goes a long ways.
It does.
So, well, we're going back to the other side of the state, but more north. So there's slight difference in sunlight, but not much. The hardiness zone, though, because of a change in elevation between here and there, because it's still along the Snake River, which right here, we're probably 3 miles from the Snake River, and there will probably be 30 miles from the Snake River. But it's around, what was it, 1,000, 2,000?
It's 2,000 feet. And I know this because of pressure canning. Right now, I have to pressure can at 13 psi because we are above 4,000 feet where we're at right now. Over there, I don't know what I'll have to can at, but I know it will be less because we'll be at 2,000 or thereabouts elevation. which is quite a significant change. And that's another thing. We have wondered if some of our headaches and body aches come because of the elevation. There are studies that do show that if you are above a certain elevation, sometimes you can have certain health challenges or concerns, and we're curious to see if that holds true.
So far, some things that we've done towards the move is I'm learning about real estate investing and starting to explore what it looks like to wholesale real estate, to fix and flip. Because I do construction, it kind of just follows that that would be part of my trade I'm learning about now, and the possibility of later owning a portfolio of rentals. So,
which is also something you know about because you grew up basically
managing rentals. Yep. Fixing them, renting them, managing them. It's all part of my growing up. So, and it's part of what made things work here, because we have a cottage that on the side that we rent out. Helps pay the bills.
It does. It really does. Something that I have done so far towards the move is take on more teacher duties, which means I get a bigger paycheck, and I'm learning to manage my time more, which is also a super important skill, because having more teacher duties and more family duties with our baby, it's a juggling act, and I've found myself getting up earlier, going to bed earlier, and really liking it. Getting stuff done first thing in the morning before anybody else is up is quite lovely.
Now we're starting YouTube. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah. I'm putting up with our awkwardness as we figure this out.
So we're going through the preparations for the move, downsizing, minimalizing a lot of stuff. I think we've taken 8, 9 van loads of this stuff that we had and collected over 7 years to the DI.
Hi.
The Deseret Industries.
We're recovering hoarders. It's fine.
It's a
but
fun
we're
journey.
We're recovering. We're leaving that hoarder stage and realizing we don't need to keep everything. That our worth is not defined by the stuff that we have. We can get rid of it and be a lot happier.
Nor is our preparation for anything that could happen contingent upon saving all the jars that we could possibly find.
Yeah, that's my thing.
Or tools, for that matter.
Tools, yeah.
I found I have a lot of tools that I don't need. They're just old and not in good condition, and I never use them. They're sitting in a toolbox for 2 years without being touched. I can get rid of them.
It's true.
Going through some mental prep as well.
Yeah. So, right now I have a washing machine. It's lovely. I have a gas stove with an oven. It's lovely. I have a sewing machine. It's really nice. We have heating in our house. I don't know that we're going to have those things. We're moving onto a bare acreage, and it doesn't have a house, obviously. It doesn't have electricity.
Gonna have to put in a well.
We're gonna have to put in a well. I won't have a washing machine for a while. And so every day I keep thinking about, okay, so how would this work? And how would this work? I have already transitioned to drying my clothes on a dry rack or on the line outside. You can do that in the winter. By the way, it does work.
Except when it's snowing.
Well, yes. But then to think about, okay, so now I'm cooking this meal. How would I cook this if I didn't have a stove? How would I cook this if I didn't have an oven? How will I do this thing in the crock pot? On the upside, and then showers. Okay, so every morning I take my shower, and it's wonderful, and it's lovely. And every morning I think, I need to be really grateful for this, because I might not have it in a month and a half. I might not have this. So I am very grateful for the things that I have. And I'm also kind of not only thinking about how am I going to make this work without them, but taking time to say goodbye to them, taking time to be intentional about my gratitude for them. It's kind of cool in a way. We're already planning our garden that we'll have. I hope we'll grow something anyway. And And there was something else I was going to say about mental prep.
Any idea what it was?
Oh, yes. We have a camper van. Spencer last year put together a camper van, and it has solar panels on the top. It has a shower. It has a toilet. It has a hot plate. It has
Running water.
A toaster oven? Is that what you call that?
Uh-huh.
A toaster oven. So there will be some amenities. We can go out to the camper van and we can take a shower. We can go out to the camper van and I can bake a loaf of bread in the air fryer. We did try that out when we bought it and made sure that it does fit. So we do have some things. We will have a little bitty camper van to help us with this transition. And we're not going to like go Stone Age just for kicks and giggles. We are going to work on getting, not on grid, but a sustainable electric system set up so that we're not going back to that.
To the early 1800s?
Yes, as lovely as that seems like it would be.
Yeah. So I made that, and it might end up being our base camp, you might say. It's made to expand, so it might help us as we get a house built, as we get things established there, getting something to build off of.
Yeah. We might even put the internet router in there.
Probably. Or on it.
Or on it.
Too.
Yeah.
But we've been researching business plan stuff for farm and for business other than farm. I've been researching loans and grants to try and help improve how fast that goes, how it works, how much energy I have to do alone, or we have to do alone in it. A lot of times when you apply for loans and grants, there are other people who will help make sure that your plans are effective and timely, so that things are appropriate for what you're applying for.
Yeah. We are beginning an LLC. We're going to trademark our name, I guess, and make a logo and all those cool stuff. And that will help with those loans and grants as well.
Sounds mercenary, but a startup takes money, and that's where we've gone wrong in the past.
We've tried to do it on no finance, no money. And you can't. It doesn't work. And honestly, that's part of our hope for YouTube, is that it will help. So forgive us for being mercenary and letting ads be in our videos. I know they're super annoying, but we hope that they will help. And if not that way, then at least it will be a video journal for us to look back and be like, oh, we were awkward. And oh, we had some great ideas. We should bring that idea back, and we should actually try and see if we can make that one work. That might actually be helpful. So that is about all that, that's where we're at right now. That's where we're starting. And put comments in the comment box.
Comments in the comment box.
Let us know what we're doing right, what we're doing wrong. Any ideas that you have for getting creative financing or grants, or getting any economically starting a homestead. Because if you can't start it off economically, you're probably not going to take it to an economic standpoint, and then it's not going to be profitable. And then what's the point of that?
As they say in the financial world of business, if you're looking into doing something as a business, it needs to be profitable. So start there.
So that's all for now.
Like, subscribe, and maybe hit the notification bell if you want to follow us and keep up to date with our videos.
For now, God bless. Good luck.
And Godspeed. Still going.